It's like we just saw each other.
I know,
Isn't
really
it?
feels
Yeah, it's
that
amazing,
way.
isn't
Yes,
it?
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing how time flies.
Yeah.
Tell us what it was like growing up in Washington, D.C. What kind of neighborhoods and sports and friends and funny places that you might have been?
Okay, well, I was never really a sports person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my grandparents lived in Maryland, and I lived with my family in Arlington until I was about 9 or 10, and we moved out to Centerville. And that was a change.
Is that near Smallville?
Smallville. It was
certainly
right around the
felt
corner.
That way.
Right?
I went
Yeah.
to Chantilly High School.
Oh,
And Chantilly Lace was the
I was
theme
gonna
song
say,
for
yeah.
the school.
For everything,
and,
Yeah.
but it was interesting because I feel like when we lived in Arlington, it was a little more, metropolitan, and it just was a little different in Centerville. It was an adjustment, very suburban. But the good thing was it was right on, at the time, now it's all housing developments, but it was right on the border of being rural. So I sort of got the dual experience of like learning to ride a horse and taking the metro into DC to go to the Smithsonian. And,
wow.
Later to punk rock shows and metal shows where I would ride the subway like by myself, and I'm like, I have a leather jacket on, I will be fine. This is my armor. So I guess the benefit was I got really like the rural and the city experience, so I feel kind of comfortable in both places. And that's one of the reasons I really loved shooting on the farm, on the ranch.
Right.
And I was like,
The
horses.
backyard equestrian center.
Yeah, I'm like, I love the smell of horses. I even like the smell of horse shit.
Smell of horse shit in the morning.
There was a horse farm not far from us where I started taking riding lessons, and riding lessons turned into like on the weekends being dropped off in the morning and working for my lessons. I would muck stalls happily just to be around
the
Oh,
horse.
sure.
Sure.
Oh,
You know?
sure.
And
What's a little horse shit between friends, right? Come on.
I mean, sometimes the stalls got a little bad where you're getting into
yeah,
maggots and
yeah,
things, and I'm like,
yeah.
I don't care, and buy a horse. So that was really fun for me. And
So did you like English or Western?
I wrote English
Ah.
because it was Virginia.
Yeah.
I mean, I can kind of pull off Western. I can do some neck reining, but I posted at the trot, and had a mead riding teacher that one time during my lesson I said some snide comment to my mom, and she made me post without stirrups like 10 times around the ring as like punishment for being mean to my mom. And I'm like, okay, I'll be nice from now on.
Oh, gosh.
But very strong legs,
Yes.
little bow-legged as a result.
Wow, there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
What was your favorite costume for Halloween?
When I was a kid, I became sort of obsessed with Egyptian culture and Cleopatra.
Aha.
With your coloring, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was doing ballet at the time. That's the other thing is Virginia School of Ballet. Like I love ballet.
Cleopatra with a tutu?
And well, we went to the ballet store where they had costumes around Halloween, and I don't know why my mom didn't just wig me. She sprayed my hair black, but we didn't do any like bronzer. I didn't do any bronze face or anything like that. We just made my hair black, and
Wow.
I think she probably put some eyeliner on me, and I was very proud to be Cleopatra because she was awesome.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my folks put me into this dance school kind of thing.
Oh, yeah?
Only it was ballroom dancing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, it was really far out. It was a lot of fun.
Your cousin Arlene, right?
Yeah, with my my cousin Arlene, and we were really close. We liked each other. We were same age, I think, and so yeah, and we were really good together. We could really do the thing, and the ballroom dancing.
Yeah,
that's
not
what
the
I'm talking
thing
about.
with
Not
your cousin.
that
That's
thing.
probably
no.
not a good idea.
No.
Who is the most influential woman in your youth, and why?
My grandmother, Helen Squire, was a big influence. She was a children's librarian. My mom was 19 when she got pregnant and 20 when she had me, and my grandmother retired. And, now that I have a small child of my own, I think about her a lot. And
Sure.
I just had the most wonderful children's stories growing up, and like the whole Wizard of Oz series, and Beatrix Potter and Winnie the Pooh and all the classics. but I think I was exposed to really good stories and literature because of her. And you know, she was a little bit of a, you know, she's very kind of liberal and rabble rouser, and you know, but a very interesting lady. I also my great grandmother on the other side was an actress and lived and worked in Hollywood.
Hereditary.
Yeah, and she and my grandfather, who was a journalist, they lived in Paris in like the 20s. Like, if you ever seen Midnight in Paris, I'm always like, my grandparents were one of the extras, and they hung out with all those people like Hemingway and Salvador Dali, and that they were in. That was their social
group. To be the
group.
fly on the wall.
I know.
Wow.
I'm like, I want to get in that cab with Luke Wilson and go see my great grandparents. So it's like there's always been sort of this tradition. My aunt was an actress. I remember the first time I saw her on stage. I'm like, people can do this,
and you get paid.
Yeah. And then it was really sweet. She lived in Baltimore and we lived in Virginia, and anytime I had a school play, she would come and watch and be really supportive. And
there's a few hours drive there.
Yeah.
Each way.
Yeah. And then she moved to New York, and she was like, she ended up being my friend's counselor at NYU.
Oh.
And my friend's like, Cornelia Cody? And I was like, yes. And she's like, she was like my favorite person at NYU. So it's all just really connected. And of course, my ancestor was Buffalo Bill Cody, who I'm related to. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
Did I know that?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he was a showman. As a result, I'm a vegetarian to try to make up for all the buffalo he killed. But he also, you know, brought Native American culture to Europe.
Right.
Unfortunately, I need to reread his autobiography. One of the chiefs he brought there, and he took great pride at introducing the chiefs to kings and queens, like fellow kings and queens. Right. Because he
as they were equals. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't remember which chief it was who went to Europe and said, I'm going to go back and tell my people to stop fighting because there's just too many white people over here. Like, they're never going to stop coming. Now I realize there's no way we can battle them all, which is kind of sad. But, you know, he, you know, at least was, you know, friends with these people and made people aware of the culture, which was a good thing. I think.
So, in your background, you went to the Academy of Dramatic Arts West. I mean, what kind of discipline did that take? I mean,
well, you know, the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Well, in school, my senior year of high school, I'd say 3 of the 4 periods of school were in the theater department anyway. Like, I was like, I don't need any more credits for this to graduate. I'm going to the theater department. So I was there for the performance class, the senior performance class. I was a teacher's aide for like the freshman class, and then I was also in like shop, so backstage.
Because you have to learn how to build the sets, right?
Well,
there you go.
Unfortunately, the guys knew I was an actress, and this kind of happens a lot. It seems it was just like I was like, teach me how to learn the lights, and they're like, go stand so we can focus the lights, and I'm like, I learned a little bit, but I was in the theater department all the time anyway. So I was picking colleges. I was like, time to go to college, and everybody's like, we don't have any money, and I'm like, how about I go to an acting school? They're like, you can probably get loans for and grants for that, and I'm like, is there any math? No. Okay, I'm going. And it was really the first time in my life I was really excited about school, and I did every single assignment, and I studied very hard because I was enjoying what I was doing.
Yeah, it had your interest, right?
Yeah, so for me, it was a lot of work. Like, for every character, we had to write their biography from their first memory and, you know, write down everything that's said about them in the script. And, you know, we read a lot.
That's a good teaching skill, by the way. Yeah,
well, I always say that you can tell when someone has got the background of theater or heavy training, because whenever they bring their character to the screen, it gives them a much more depth of character. And you're definitely you're 2 characters. In fact, you're the only other female that has the 2 characters is Lady in Lavender. And so, but the fact that you have the 2 characters and you bring 2 different personalities with those characters, it definitely goes back to your training. Definitely, it shows.
Thank you. It was so much fun to do. You know, it's like I think some of that started off like Well, David Hartman was the director, and we had done a bunch of stuff together for channel101.com. And I think, in some ways he felt like I'm working with all these greats and well-known people who turn out to be really nice and normal and not, intimidating at all. But I think he had some concerns, and he wanted to bring somebody along that he had worked with before.
Comfortable with, sure.
And so he, wouldn't have to worry about me. He could put all his focus on how high maintenance Reggie is. Not at all.
Yeah, I'm very demanding, by the way.
We shot in his home. I mean, it's like
in your bed.
His wife did makeup and special effects, like so high maintenance. I mean, the only high maintenance
I killed you over and over.
I know. So, but I think there was some of that, and then I think when we shot the first part, we weren't sure really where it was going, and he killed me. And he's like, "Oh, we're shooting more. I guess I got to bring Dawn back and write her another character." But I really like the Jane character. I mean, the Dawn character was nice. It was great to have that vulnerability. But the Jane character, she was like kind of a badass.
Well, and you were so attentive about the details of your character. Like you had talked to me about what would military slang be for a particular situation, or how would you handle your weapon in a particular situation, and so those few little interchanges that we had, or exchanges that we had behind the scenes, I was like, oh, she actually did that. It's like amazing, and but you fell right into that character really well. So it was really good job, really great job.
Thank you. I mean, I didn't want to be holding a gun and looking like I had never held a gun before, which was somewhat true.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have respect for the military and their training, which I have none of. So I came to the people who do, and I'm like, what do I do? Tell me if I'm doing it wrong. Tell me if I do anything weird. I mean, I've gone to ranges a couple times, but I don't know what I'm doing. I probably should.
Yeah.
How did you meet Derek Mears?
I met him through Channel 101. Actually, at one of the early screenings, I had an idea for identical twins that switch places, but having one of the twins be male and the other female. I actually had done a sketch like this with Steve Agee, who was also part of Channel 101, and we both kind of had red hair and slightly similar coloring. But then I saw Derek, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if it was Derek?
There's the identical twin.
Yeah, and we're both girls, and he was kind of like the slutty one, and I was like the smart one. We were like changing places on a date, and so we had a lot of fun shopping together, trying to find the same. I think we went to Target, and I shopped, and so he went into the plus size, and we had to find stuff that matched in the plus size and the regular size.
Right.
And luckily we did okay with that, but it was pretty funny while we were doing
Seeing
it.
him as a woman, that would be hilarious.
Yeah, visually in my head, I'm going, you and Derek.
He's prettier than you think once he's made up.
Oh yeah. I can see that.
But he's
got those cute eyes.
He's
I know.
huge.
It was like really ridiculous.
So it sounds like fun.
In all of the 57 plus castings and such that you've had, what would you consider to be one of the dumbest decisions you ever had to make?
That a mistake I made, or a dumbest thing.
Dumbest moment.
There's so many.
That's a tough. I was going to say that's tough. That's tough.
Let's see. I mean, I'm sure I've said really weird things on camera. I mean, one is coming to mind. I was on a commercial audition, and they want you to do banter, and they're always like, stay away from politics or religion or anything. And we were talking about the downtown LA art walk, and that there was a lot more of a police presence. And this guy on camera started talking about it, and I just chimed in, and he's like, oh yeah, there was a terrible accident. And I'm like, oh yeah, someone's car jumped the curb and killed a baby. And the person behind the camera's like, no, Dave, don't talk about dying babies. And I'm like, oops. Maybe that's not good for the client to hear.
Yeah.
If I was auditioning for something else.
Has Does having a life in the horror genre, has that affected your personal life or your career or anything?
Well, the funny thing is, we shot Ravager, and it was a long time until it came out, and I was sworn to absolute secrecy. Everybody's like, the fans are insane. Don't say anything on
cone
social
of
media.
silence.
I didn't even tell people I knew much, unless they already knew, because they talked to David Hartman or something, because we're friends,
And we kept wondering, how the heck does these people know about it? And because we're all sworn to secrecy, so how is it getting out?
Yeah, always sworn to secrecy.
I always figured it was David. No.
Maybe some of the fans are psychic. I met a few of them.
I met a few of them.
Psychic.
They figure things out quickly.
Oh my God, they're so. I mean, it's like. I'm like, the fans know way more about this than I do, so I'm not even going to try to,
Well, these days, it's really hard to keep things undercover, production-wise, because there's Facebook, the internet, there's
Instagram,
so many social.
Snapchat, all
you
that.
put anything out there. So anytime I posted a photo, I tried to make it, I didn't say,
generic.
I'd say maybe where I was when I was shooting something. Like, we had the crazy old hospital we shot in.
Linda Vista.
Yeah, and there was that insane room that had all the graffiti inside.
Yep.
Right.
And
most photographed room on the premises.
Yeah, and I changed clothes in that room just to see if I could.
Yeah.
And I changed very quickly. This was after I was done. I was changing back into my street clothes, and then I took a picture of it and I put that on social media. But I didn't say what I was doing.
That was Loma Vista is a scary place.
I know, and now they turned it into like an old folks home.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just a very easy jump. Like when you're done here to go into the next, to the other side, there's probably people to help you along the way. They're just floating about.
Well, they had these posts that you could just walk through and go to the other side.
You, what was amazing to watch was that you fit in so well and acclimated so well to the cast and the other cast members, and it was like you had been with them all along. Have you ever had another experience where you have that sense of chemistry and camaraderie, or was that unique to Phantasm? Or
Phantasm is definitely unique, but also everybody's just so nice.
Well,
it wasn't just,
that's the deal right there.
Yeah, everybody's just a likable person. Don's very accessible.
And everybody's just into the art of doing the thing. It's like, this is art. Come on. You can call the art a horror film. That's fine. But this is art.
Yeah.
I'm putting on this other person,
And we're here because we're enjoying what we're doing.
Yeah.
Is there any direction that you would have liked to have taken either Dawn or Jane, that wasn't represented?
I would have liked it if Jane went down fighting a little more.
Yeah.
Like, I had all this cool gear and stuff and supposed military background that I was faking, and I just would have liked to just fight a little more. Just shoot a dwarf or something. Not the dwarf I was after.
Not the good dwarf.
Not my friend Chunk.
No.
But, one of the evil dwarves, something, got one punch in on the tall man. I don't know, something. Just so she could have a little bit of resistance before she went. But it was a cool character anyway, and I was so happy to play it and be able to play two things that were so different,
So how do you feel that the industry's changed, either positively or negatively, towards women and the film industry?
Well, I feel like the Me Too movement has got everybody on their guard. I think that, we're slowly rooting out the creeps and putting them away.
For sure.
And
we won't mention any names, right?
Yeah. And, there's creeps that everybody thought were going to get away with stuff forever that are now being taken down.
They are.
And the people who covered them up are being taken down.
Right.
And I think
the enablers.
Even like with the Harvey Weinstein thing, I think everybody was so happy to roll him under the bus because they were so stressed out about protecting him and felt so much guilt for years and years that they were like, oh my gosh, of course I want to make sure,
something.
I can
Thank you for asking.
speak about this now. Like, I've been put in such uncomfortable, people who just were covering up for him, nobody wants to do that,
No.
and
Bad
he was
karma.
so powerful that it was difficult for them to think that they would still have a career and not
But
do it.
yeah, I know, that's the problem. That was the whole casting couch problem, you know. If you come in here and hey baby, come on,
How bad do you want the part?
Yeah, how bad do you want the part, you know? And that went on for so many years. And I know it's not just the theater arts or the film industry. I mean, it was happening in every part of every industry, to be honest with you.
The music industry.
Yeah.
Music industry.
Music, yeah.
Yeah.
Fully, I don't know how that's going to go.
Vetted.
That's like everybody.
Yeah,
But,
fully
Yeah.
vetted.
It's
Yeah.
really setting it on its
Yeah.
ear. If you had 15 minutes of me time, anything you could do just for yourself, what would that be?
Probably just like go to the spa or sit quietly in my house with no one home. I have a 4-year-old. No one touching me or speaking to me for like
Mom,
15 minutes.
mom.
And it's like I love him so much. His voice is so cute. But mommy, sometimes I'm like, I just want to go to the bathroom by myself for once. Mommy, I'm hungry. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. You need another snack. But I love him to death. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
But that's really what my focus has been the last few years. I kind of didn't realize how. I knew kids were hard work, but it's about 100 times what I expected.
Yeah.
And he's great.
You're
He's not
raising
even, like,
another human.
I know, and I'm trying to raise a good human.
Well, if he's your son, he's going to be a good human.
Oh,
He has a good start. So if you could go back to yourself, meet yourself when you were 14, what advice or piece of wisdom would you depart to yourself?
Probably as well as trying to be really good at your craft. You're 14, you haven't decided that. Well, I was getting on the track. Was I 14 when I did my first school play? Maybe like 15 or 16. But I would say learn some business, get the business side. Don't just focus on the creative. Like try to figure out what the business is, because unfortunately,
The
our
business of
acting
the
school-
business, right?
Yeah, everybody came out of school like kind of thinking it was this big mystery, and that if you went in there and just were so great, you would get hired. And now that I've been on the other side and understand how it works, it's like, no, if you fit the picture in their head when you walk in, and then you can walk and talk and chew gum and pull it off, or you got some dollar signs behind you that's going to help the project get funded.
Right.
That is how you get the part.
Yes.
And it's, they always say it's who you know, it's who you get to know. So you need to know who the players are, and you need to get yourself in the right circles instead of hanging out with a bunch of other silly actors like doing funny voices all the time, which, is a good thing to do too.
Yes.
But don't just work on the craft. Know the business. Figure out the business and be relentless, because I was all about like, well, I'll just get really, really good at this and then something will happen. And it's like, no, you kind of gotta. I've known other people who the networking was their talent and acting not so much, but they're very successful now because they could do the networking seamlessly.
Yes.
You've been networked and you don't even know, and then they get your even more successful friend's number and they're just moving up and you're like, where did you go?
Yes. We have a friend that he specifically, when we first met him, he was all about networking. He hasn't changed that motive, or that modus operandi, if you will. But he is like the king of networking. And he used to have networking parties, and he used to try to get us to come to them, and we're like, no, thank you. we network in different circles. So it's about knowing your brand and taking it putting it in the place where it's going to be best seen. So
yeah, and it's hard when you are an artist and you're like, that's just kind of cheesy. That's not like, I just want to like do real art and hang out with artistic people, but they're not the one that fund the project.
No,
not usually. You gotta get to the people who are making the choices and make friends with them.
Yeah, it was great when I was kind of growing up, and especially the schools and stuff. The arts were a major part of going to school.
Right.
There was choirs, orchestras, theater arts, and I remember just all kinds of great stuff that I was able to get involved in, including community theater.
Which is always a good start. Anytime the actors ask me I'm trying to be an actor, where do I start?
Yeah.
It's like, well, start with community theater
Yeah.
or colleges, because they're always looking for people.
Colleges, school, theater arts, yeah.
Yeah, and even college film programs. They always
Oh,
need
sure, they got
actors.
great ones
Always.
now.
And you'll learn how to hit your mark, and you'll learn how to wait forever while they, are futzing around trying to get
hurry
the
up
lights
and
right.
wait.
Yeah, you'll learn all that, and you might not actually learn how to light something because they need somebody. They're not
Need
following
an extra
union
hand.
rules there.
Right. Well, thank you, Dawn. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. Look
Yeah.
amazing, and just always that bright ray of sunshine for us.
Aw.
So it was really great. Thank you for participating in this.
Of course, and it's so great to be with you guys. I'm glad we have a friendship now. Because
Oh,
it
we
was all
do,
so
definitely,
different.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.